Okay, so let's get started back to chapter 5 or 19, depending on which book. And now we're going to look at fixed costs. This is video number 2. So here's the concept of fixed costs. Fixed costs are costs that basically remain the same in total dollars as my activity base changes. So my cost is going to stay the same regardless of the activity base. And let me give you an example. This company makes bottles and distributes perfume, and I pay my production supervisor $75,000 a year. So my relevant range is going to be the number of bottles produced, anywhere from 50,000 to 300,000. And so here's, as the activity bases increase, you notice that the actual fixed cost stays the same regardless how many bottles are produced. But when I break it down to the salary per bottle, it's actually reduced. Okay? So as the activity base increases, the per bottle salary decreases. So here are the two characteristics that you should focus on for fixed cost. Cost per unit decreases as activity level increases, and increases as activity level decreases. So these go the opposite direction. This goes higher, this goes lower. Total cost, which is this, remain the same regardless how many units produced. Okay? And so here is an example of a little graphs, and I'm not big on graphs, and you don't have to make them in my class, but here's a great little chart helping you to understand fixed costs. So now we're talking about university. Building depreciation. Okay, it's a fixed cost. It doesn't make a difference how many students come to that building, the depreciation remains the same. So here are my activity bases. Passenger airline depreciation. It doesn't make a difference how many miles the airplane's flown, my depreciation stays the same. So these are all examples of fixed costs. Think of it this way. Fixed costs are typically anything that has nothing to do with the product itself directly. Remember, because variable costs are direct materials, direct labor, and I forgot what the other one was. I'm sorry, guys. So, but fixed costs stay the same. Okay? So we have one more to look at. Now we want to look at mixed cost. Okay? Mixed costs are when I basically have variable and fixed together. And I'm going to show you some examples of this. So Simpson Incorporated manufactures sails for boats, and I use a rented machinery. And the rental charges are like this. So in order to rent the machine, it costs me $15,000 per year, plus $1 for each hour the machine is used in excess of 10,000 hours. So here's my fixed cost, and here's my variable. So the rental charges for various hours, the relevant range is from 8,000 hours to 40,000 hours. So here the relevant range, the quantity of hours used, from 8,000 to 40,000, and here's what it's going to cost me. If I just use 8,000, it's going to be just the fixed cost. But as I increase over the 10,000 hours right here, I'm now paying the fixed cost plus the dollar per hour over 10,000 to come up with 17,000, and so on down here. So this is basically how I handle mixed cost. And here's our wonderful little chart. Okay? Now, mixed costs are pretty difficult to understand, so what we've actually come up with is called a HiLo method to actually estimate what the costs are. So this is something you need to know. You need to know how this formula works. It will be on tests. It will be on quizzes. So HiLo method is only for mixed cost. And here's what it says. The equipment maintenance department of this company incurs the following costs. So I've got 5 months in a row. Here's the number of units produced each month. And here's my total cost. Now remember, mixed costs are fixed and variable together. So what I want to do is I want to find what is my actual variable cost and my fixed cost. So I take the highest level and the lowest level and take the difference. So here's the highest level where I made 2,100 units, and this is my highest cost. And then I subtract out the lowest level. This is the number of units. This is the cost. And so I take the difference of the two and put them into this formula down here. So the variable cost, because this is mixed, first we find the variable, then we're going to find the fixed. The variable cost per unit is the difference in the total cost divided by the difference in the units produced. So basically, when I do it, it's $15 per unit. Okay, so let's move forward to, I got a couple more slides. Let's do the fixed cost. So you always have to know the variable cost first, then you do the fixed cost. Here's my formula. Total cost minus variable cost per unit times units produced. But you have to calculate this first. Now, you can do this formula for the highest level or the lowest level, and it will still come out exactly the same. Fixed costs are often just a single dollar amount, such as $30,000 for the whole year, whereas a variable cost is often so much per unit. So it doesn't make a difference. Find my variable cost first, do my formula, and this is what's going to happen. Whether I do the high level or the low level, I'm going to come out with the same. Okay, and so basically now when I put it together, my total cost is the $15 times the units produced plus the $30,000. Okay, so this is how to handle fixed cost and mixed cost. And we'll do stop here to go to video number 3 next.